So I'm a spiritually awakened member of AA and NA, and my name is Adam. Hello. My sobriety date is February 14th, 2018. So I'm honored to do this, as me and Rob go way back. We actually met in the trap house. So, to go from there to where we are today, we go to church together, we do meetings together, and I'm so proud of you, and it's been an honor to walk alongside of you for some of this journey, I give you a little preface. Half measures availed us nothing, and with that being said, I apply that to my faith as well. So you might not hear any F-bombs out of me, but you might get a few J-bombs. With that being said, I just pray that God give me the words to speak, and it allows me to glorify Him. So I'll start with a little bit of testimony. I grew up in a blue-collar family, had a good childhood, was into sports, did well in school, participated in all kinds of things. Life was good. I'd say around high school was when, as most of us do, being a young man, and I tried to set out to just find what is the meaning of life. What are we doing here, right? I grew up with morals and values, so, I put on my notes here just like Rudy and Rocky, right? Like hard work. If I could just put my nose down and just work, I could achieve anything I wanted, right? Like they told us growing up. And I did well at that. I am a hardworking person. But at some point, I bought into the lie, that happiness comes from more. If I had that, I'd be happy. If I had a nicer car, I'd be happy. If I had more money, I'd be happy. If I had, whatever it was, I chased meaning in all these things, right? And I think, like, for me, it was around the same time I started using drugs. I started using drugs almost like seeking, like, there's got to be more to life than this, right? Like, what are we doing here? I started asking myself these questions, and drugs gave me that escape, that high, that something different, just searching for meaning, right? I did achieve success early in life. I started making lots of money, and I traveled around the world. I got to party with movie stars, do some pretty incredible things, right? All on this hard work. But during that time, my partying kept escalating as well. Right? With more money, I was able to afford more drugs. And no matter what I was able to achieve, it always left me feeling empty. It was never enough, right? Like it's never enough. And so I chased these things, but always feeling empty. I began to experience depression, right? Like I thought, that everybody else can seem to find happiness in these things, and it's not working for me. Around the age of 25, I had a son was born, and I thought I could just force myself into responsibility. So I bought a house, I bought a car, and I thought, this will force me to stay on the straight and narrow. I got payments, I got all these things, right? And but I was still unhappy. And that's when I began, that was the age of 25, I started using opiates around that time. What started out as like partying and experimenting and all these things quickly became a physical dependency. Now I was addicted to a drug that if I didn't have, I would be extremely sick. I needed them to go to work. I needed them to get out of bed. I was incredibly dependent on them. And I started to lose everything, right? Obviously, I started to miss car payments, house payments, just everything. I lost the ability to see my son. CAS got involved, just everything. I strained the relationship with my family, just losing everything. My dignity, my self-respect, as you said, like I lost my cat too, right? Like you said that, I had a cool cat too. So around that time, I thought, okay, I do have a problem. So through my union, I entered my first 30-day program. It was good. I got healthy on the outside. I got fit. I ate good. I slept good. It was about a month, 30 days long. And I felt good on the outside, but inside there was still something missing. and I came out from that program, 30 days, like, let's be honest, and I went right back, same friends, same people, same things, and I started using again. Now with this relapse, because I'd already lost everything before I went, so now the people that helped me the first time had kind of gave up on me, and I ended up homeless. So I was in and out of the shelters, in the crisis beds, and just kind of lived that for a bit. Somewhere along the line, I ran into a counselor, and she talked me into going to another one, and I went to a 6-month rehab. I was introduced to cognitive behavioral therapy, working on all these things, got extremely healthy on the outside, went to the gym, that's always my go-to, and was clean, 6 months, clean, right? But I didn't have it on the inside. I left that treatment center and I was clean for a couple of months, relapsed again. And anyone who's gone through it, and I know, Rob, you said so many relapses, right? It spiraled me into severe depression because I thought, I tried and it doesn't work for me, right? There's something wrong with me. And that mindset, I became hopeless. By now, my drug use had graduated. I was now an IV fentanyl user. And that was around the time I met Rob. So I was on the streets and I was putting needles in my arm. I gave up and I didn't see any hope. I kind of thought that's it. This is going to be my life forever, right? Combined with the heavy drug use, anytime I'd smoke hard or jib, I'd go into extreme psychoses, right? So any of you guys who have experienced that, it was evil, right? I never had a psychosis where I was laughing and joking and having a good time. It was evil, right? It's evil. And so that kind of woke me up to, like, I'm battling this spiritual battle. Like, this stuff is evil. These are demons. These are trying to torment. These are trying to kill me, right? So now that I'm aware of this unseen battle, I cried out to God. I didn't know him. I didn't know who he was. I just remember getting down on my hands and knees and saying, like, God, I don't know you, but you get me out of this situation. If you help me, I want to be on your team. I want to fight for you. I know it's a battle between good and evil, and I choose you. And God showed up. I don't want to tell you all that, but it's amazing the God shots that happened, and I ended up in a Salvation Army in London. Even on the way there, my sister was driving, and I was supposed to go to Brampton, and they called and said, because of the amount of drugs you're on, we're not medically equipped to handle your withdrawal. So I said, okay, well, let me out of the car. Like, I'm going to get high, right? Like, I'm done. I'm going to get sick. My sister locked the doors and got on the 401 and started praying. She said, Adam, God's got a plan. Like, don't give up. God's got a plan. Call it anywhere. Anywhere I got to take you across Canada. I don't care. We're doing this. So I started calling, and sure enough, the Salvation Army in London answered. They said, I got a bed, but you got to come right now. I said, okay, what's your name? So when I get there, her name was Faith. Right? Like, you know what I mean? What are the chances, right? Her dad actually started the rehab where I ended up going to. You know what I mean? Like, all these God shots started showing up, right? So now I ended up in this Christian-based program. It's a 1-year program, Christian-based. I'd ask God, like, I remember 4 days into the detox, and I finally was honest about the drugs I'm coming off, because I thought, yeah, you guys aren't kicking me out like the last one, right? So I was honest. I didn't get that sick. I was a minimal 3-4 points a day and 90 mils of methadone that I stopped cold turkey. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't get that sick. The 4th day, I called my sister to say, like, I'm doing good. I didn't even get that sick. She says, Adam, I was praying for you. That was it. I hung up the phone, got down on my hands and knees, said, God, I don't know what you did to get me out of that hell, but I'm all in. I'm all in. I surrender. I give my life to you, right? I'm all in. Then I go to this Christian-based rehab. I started meeting people. I started reading the Bible. I started doing the steps. I started doing all these things, and it became alive, right? I started to experience this freedom. I started to see the fruit in my life, right? Like, I don't like for you guys who read the Bible. Yeah, let's go. Fruit of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, meekness, self-control. These things started to be evident in my life. I don't even know how it happened, like it was like you said, the miracle just starts to happen, right? Working the steps, they were like natural progressions for me. I started calling the trap houses and praying for people. Put them on the phone. I want to pray with them. Put them on the, that's it. I'm getting them, right? I became so alive, and I felt like, I got to tell everybody. Like, yeah, these guys are missing it, right? I got to tell everybody. So first, I'm phoning them. Now I get out of rehab. I'm hitting the streets. Let's go, right? I'm going to the missions. I'm going to the shelters. I wanted to wake everybody up. You guys are missing it. There's so much more, right? I was on a mission, a light carrier. Like when you guys read that this morning, or the AA pledge or whatever, right? Like when somebody needs help, I want to be there. That's our responsibility. We carry this light. And I think, how could you not? When you see somebody struggling, hopeless, like I know what that feels like. I want to tell you there's a better way, right? So that's what I set out to do. And me just being willing, God will show up, right? Like you tell God you want to be a soldier, he'll put you in the fight. And I started volunteering at shelters. I started a ministry called Touched by Addiction, where I would sell t-shirts and sweaters to put people into rehab, right? Started doing that. I started running online support groups, started running support groups at the shelter. I met Rob again. We crossed paths the second time, right? I even got to the point, I co-founded a recovery house. You know, I got to speak in front of the region of Durham. Like, what are the chances? You know what I mean? Who am I? Just being willing. God, send me where you need me. Give me the words to speak. I'm in. I'll go. Right? Send me. I'll go. Nowadays, I work at the largest low barrier shelter in Durham region. I run the peer support program. I'm the supervisor. Krista? And I get to come alongside and help others and encourage them and tell them that there's hope, right? Like, this is my job. This morning I drove a guy into detox, blaring "I'm Not Afraid" by Eminem, bought him a pack of smokes, prayed with him, and sent him into detox. That's my job. Like, and I honestly, it's my dream job. And I don't say that to boast, but to acknowledge what God can do. Like what God can do when you truly surrender yourself and have that heart to help, he'll put you in these places. The amazing life I have now, you know, when I turn my will over, I know it's not me. I know where my way got me, right? Like, I know it's not me. I wake up every day and I hit my knees and I pray and I say, okay, God, lead me. I'll go wherever you go, right? He is such a loving God. He loves us more than we can ever imagine. You know, when I was at my lowest, when I was at this, honestly, when I burned every bridge, I owed everybody money, everybody turned their back on me, everybody gave up on me, he was there. When I got down on my hands and knees and cried out, he showed up, right? And because of that, I'll forever be grateful. And I'll scream it from the mountaintops, right? I'm unashamed. I'm a new creation. I'm spiritually reborn. I'm more alive than ever. Like I can't even, there's no high like the Most High. I've tried every drug and I'm telling you, this is, I don't come down. I run, right? And I know if he did it for me, that he will do it for you. I can promise you that. I just, you know, I pray that you invite him in and surrender. I know that's so hard. That's one of the hardest things. You know, how do I win the fight? By surrendering. But it's something so powerful to it, right? And then because I mean, the surrender piece is difficult, but for me, I had to get to the point where, well, how's my way working? I was beaten into submission, right? Like I didn't have nothing to stand on. I honestly had like the clothes on my back. That's it, right? So I knew that my way wasn't working, so I was quick to surrender. I challenge you, work an honest program. Work an honest program. It's you versus you. What do you got to lose? Right? Like you can always go back. You know, you get your money back at the door. Take a look around and see the people that have this light in their eyes, that have this joy on their faces, right? Like when you're new to this program, I remember coming in and thinking like, these people are crazy, right? And I'll never forget my buddy at rehab said, he goes, you know, when I first got here, I thought these guys are crazy. And after 3 months, I thought, if that's crazy, I want to be crazy too, right? And that's where I am, right? I want to be crazy too. Buckle up. This is an adventure. Life is an adventure, right? Don't just settle for getting clean. Go for the spiritual awakening. There's so much more, right? It's a spiritual program. Go deep. And nowadays I can look back, I'm thankful for the trials, for the obstacles. I'm even thankful for my addiction, because without it, I would have never been aware that there was a different way of life. I would have still been out there just surviving, just making a paycheck, just looking for happiness in all the wrong places, right? The addiction woke me up to there is a problem and there is a better way. And really makes me think what's really important in life. And so I'll leave you with that, guys. Like I said, if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. Go deep. Let's go.